wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. Hi, I'm attorney Gavin M. Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jell-O, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why a trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. I'm attorney Gavin Richard. I grew up here in New Orleans, so I know how important family, friends, and community are to us. and helping others has been a lifelong passion of mine. If you've been injured in an accident, you may be out of work and faced with large medical bills. You'll need someone to fight the insurance companies so that you can get on with your life. Give me a call at 504-799-2288 and I'll be with you all the way. The law offices of Gavin M. Richard, going the distance so that justice may be served. The place to be is right here with me. It is Random Topic Thursdays, ladies and gentlemen. You know what day it is, and if it is Thursdays, then it can only mean one thing. It is the hottest live stream on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started, of course, we want to pay some bills. We want to thank everyone who have subscribed, our new subscribers, those we want to ask you if you're new to this channel to please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. We go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, unless I say otherwise. And we have a lot that we're going to get into today. So you saw I didn't do things in order, so that's kind of going to happen every now and then. But I need to pay some bills, so I need everybody to go to naughty'screoleblends.com. That is naughty'screoleblends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Noni's goes great with every dish. Hit that icon where you see the shopping cart at and purchase you some Naughty's, ladies and gentlemen. Hit continue shopping. Buy you a bottle of our fine Naughty's Creole seasoning mix. We can't help but ask you all to do such. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we want to ask you to please go ahead and check out our Spotify channel. We have some songs available online, including Video Soul, that is the latest in our catalog, Video Soul, which is available on Spotify. And I keep bringing Shawn in. Hold on a second. That is Video Soul. Well, that's actually got to get on up. Excuse me 1 second. I hate when they do this. Okay. Yes, it's me. Sorry. Okay, so I apologize. Yeah, it looks like I'm back in. It's trying to load. All this and more, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring in our guest. Okay, he is the author of the book, The Man Crisis, and now The Woman Crisis, which will be debuting very soon. Please welcome our guest, Brother Shawn James. Shawn, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Gavin. How are you? I'm good.
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, brother. Now, before we begin, let's talk about what our topics will be, ladies and gentlemen, for the night. Governor John Bell Edwards denies the reports from the AP concerning the death of Ronald Greene. Brian Flores lawsuit against the NFL for racial discrimination. Whoopi Goldberg's remarks on the View that got her suspended. Don Cornelius gets accused of rape and kidnapping Playboy Bunny. What was that? And W. Kamau Bell hit piece on Cosby is a dud. All this and more, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we actually hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Shawn, why don't you do a plug in right quick?
All right. The SJS Direct 2021 books are available on Amazon.com right now. And you can pick up those books, which include John Hayes Taking Care of Business, ISIS Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, E-Steam Cancelification, and Stop Simping in Cyberspace. And all four of those titles are available in paperback and Kindle format, along with over 75 other titles on the SJS Direct imprint on Amazon.com. And you can find many other SJS Direct titles available in places like Walmart, Target, and other online booksellers like Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, the iBookstore, and Google Play.
Very good, everyone. And of course, you can also check out our theme song, Gotta Get On Up, which I was able to locate. So, of course, before we get on down, it's time to get on up. And it's time for me to get a copyright strike on my own page for my own song. So, without further ado, let us get on up. We'll be back in a few.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up.
Baby, feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Hello, Butterflies. Yes, let's bring Shawn back in. Shawn, thank you again for joining us. Butterflies had asked, is your book on Kindle? Are any of your books on Kindle? And I can answer yes. I know The Man Crisis is on Kindle. Most of them are, right, Shawn? Or all of them?
All of them, all of the books on the SJS Direct imprint are on Kindle, and they're also available on paperback on Amazon as well. But they are all on Kindle, so you can definitely pick up every SJS Direct book on Kindle if you wanted to.
All right, Shawn, let's get into it, man. It's good to see you as always. Here's our first topic for tonight. Okay, so Whoopi Goldberg, because I talk like Whoopi because this is kind of how she talks. She's got that black Jew Marge Simpson kind of thing going on, right? Since the 1980s, she's always kind of talked like this. So she's made some remarks about her people, but not the kind of people we are. Her own people, the Jews. So Gosh, that does hurt my throat. Excuse me. I'll just talk normally. So Whoopi made some remarks. They were talking about removing some books, I believe, from school. And apparently, somehow or another, it got to a remark with regards to the Holocaust. And Whoopi is learning that very valuable lesson that most Black celebrities, most bootlicks, most tokens are coming to have to learn hard, which is no matter your status, your income, how long you've been in Hollywood, and you can even take the last name of a certain group, you are still a you know what in America. Now, I, in fairness, I understood what Whoopi was trying to say. And Shawn, I don't know, did you hear the comments?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. So
I heard that she had said something about about Jews
Holocaust.
and race, and I got caught a little bit of a clip from watching a Mr. Superboy video, but I haven't really been paying attention because I've been working on other stuff.
Well, this is what she said. And can we get a copyright disclaimer up from my mods? Darius or Black Voltron, y'all always good with it. So let's go ahead and let's listen to Whoopi Goldberg.
So two schools are being accused
two
of banning
schools.
books after one in Washington State pulled To Kill a Mockingbird off the required reading list after complaints from students and parents, including a former Black student who said it made her uncomfortable, and a Tennessee school pulled the graphic novel Mouse out of their lessons on the Holocaust because it contained some nudity and some bad language.
Personally, I'm shocked because, you know, given the story of Mouse, I'm surprised that that's what made you uncomfortable. The fact that there was some nudity, and I mean, it's about the Holocaust, the killing of 6 million people, but that didn't bother you. But the naked.
I'm not sure that they don't use the naked part as a kind of a canard to throw you off from the fact that they don't like history that makes white people look bad.
Well, this is white people doing it to white people.
Yeah.
So this is, you know, y'all go fight amongst yourselves, but don't, you know.
Well, and look at what kids watch these days and the music they listen to say.
Let me just stop for a second. So she said something I even thought. What you know is, even Dick Gregory even said this, that the Holocaust was white people killing white people, which technically is true. But, of course, when you look at Adolf Hitler, if you know him, it was about the killing of multiple people because he thought his people, the Aryans, were a superior race. So, yes, it is racial. And no, on the aspect, too, of Jews, I mean, let's face it, Jews can assimilate. And I'm speaking real. This is not hate. This is not anti-Semitic. I know of Jewish people who may hide their name or what we call angelize it, excuse me, where they angelize their last name. So, for instance, Rothsteins, like Hyman Roth would be Hyman, was Hyman Roth. His real name was Hyman Rothstein. I know, yes, he was a fictional character. But like, if you look at the Three Stooges, for instance, Moe, Shemp, and Curly, their last name, a real name was Horowitz. They made it and turned it to Howard because it sounded more American. Same thing with Larry Fine. His real name is Louis Feinberg. But let's go ahead and let Whoopi talk because I'm getting ahead of myself.
Say that when proving or showing them a work of history or art or something that happened is bad language or nudity, turn off reality TV, turn off the radio, turn off everything they're doing, because kids are exposed to this stuff really early in inappropriate situations, not ones where you're learning or teaching.
Yeah, and the nudity is a drawing of his mom who died during the Holocaust. I mean, in Mouse, which is the other thing. It's just insane.
But I don't know what's going on. Story,
it's about the words.
It's about the N word. The girl is triggered in the class by the word.
Because if you're sitting amongst lots of students and you're reading it out loud, it comes up a lot and makes people uncomfortable.
And especially if you're the only
Black kid
student
in this,
there. I mean,
so that was what they're talking about triggering. I don't know if that should stop people from having it as reading, but it's stopping as required reading.
Well,
So
there's an
they can still
entire
do it.
bill moving through the Florida legislature
there
right
is.
now about banning any conversation in schools that make people feel uncomfortable because of their race or gender. And there's also in Florida a bill banning talking about LGBTQ conversations. It's being referred to as "Don't Say Gay." So I don't know what's happening with all of this banning going on. You know, we talked about Beloved being banned, Mao's To Kill a Mockingbird, conversations. I think it's making it very difficult to teach kids.
Well,
and all these people who talk about and complain about people being snowflakes, how do you not raise snowflakes if you don't expose them to reality?
Right? This was the plan with these anti-history laws that started being passed, these alleged CRT laws that started being passed. I don't think people saw far enough into the future. You start banning discussions about race, then you start banning discussions about the Holocaust, then you start banning discussions about the LGBTQ community. That's where it started, and this was all very planned, and in my view. And what bothers me the most is people saying, I don't want my children to be uncomfortable. Well, how about your children being uncomfortable in a way of learning empathy, in a way of learning sorrow, in a way of being able to empathize with other people's plights? I've always said if my children are subjected to racism at a very early age, which they are, then your child should be okay with having a little bit of discomfort and learning about the racism that exists.
I observe that young children are naturally empathetic.
Yeah.
And that the empathy is kind of drained out of them by their parents and things that they hear out there.
It's that song. It's the
You've
song
got to
that
be
Barbara,
carefully
that's
taught
right.
from South Pacific.
Yeah.
You know, my grandson, I remember when he was around 3 or 4 years old, there was a kid who was in trouble for some reason. And I mean, it gives me chills. My grandson put his arm around the kid, like, I'm with you. And when you talk about empathy, children are naturally like that.
Well, it's the parents'
And
issue.
if you
It's the
teach a
parents'
white
issue.
kid what happened to his friend who happens to be black, he might feel terrible about what happened. That doesn't mean he feels bad that he did something.
Exactly.
This is a confusion that they're creating, I believe.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that colleges, this all started in colleges and universities and not wanting to make kids uncomfortable. And we talked about it once here on the show with actually Van Jones when he said, if I send my kids to school, I want them to be uncomfortable. I want people to push back on their beliefs because otherwise we're not preparing kids to go out into the real world. We're preparing them for a world that doesn't exist outside of their own house.
Well, also, if you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it because the Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race.
Ethnicity.
Well, they
No,
consider
it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about
Well,
race.
what is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's
Well,
about
but
going
it's not-
after
it's
Jews
not about
ideal race.
gypsies and-
But these are two white groups of people.
Well, they
How
go
do we-
after black
I
people
didn't see
too.
them as white.
And they were
But
after
you're missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there. So the minute it goes down to race, you start talking about race, it goes down this alley. Now, Whoopi has trying to play that all lives matter thing, as she pointed out. But Whoopi ended up, of course, as you will see later on, the fallout, she actually apologized for her remarks because it caught backlash from Jewish groups. She got Nick Cannon. If you remember what Nick Cannon said, although she kind of doubled down on it. So you're going to see in this clip what happens. And then, of course, she gets suspended for 2 weeks from The View. And apparently she's livid about it, and her co-stars are not happy. But I got to share something.
That will never
about
waver.
Hold on.
Understanding about her inflammatory remarks about the Holocaust. ABC News President Kim Godwin saying in a statement, effective immediately, I am suspending
Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks for her wrong and hurtful comments. While Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. The entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with our Jewish colleagues, friends, family, and communities.
If you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it because the Holocaust isn't about race.
On Monday's show, the host of ABC's The View inaccurately claimed the Holocaust was not related to race.
It's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Goldberg appearing to double down on the Colbert Show that night.
The American experience tends to be based on skin.
Yes. And so that is what race means to me. When you talk about being a racist, I was saying you can't call this racism. This was evil. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish. They had to delve deeply to figure it out.
Then tweeting an apology saying in part, the Jewish people around the world have always had my support and that will never waver. I'm sorry for the hurt I have caused. And the next day, opening The View with this.
I said that the Holocaust wasn't about race, and it was instead about man's inhumanity to man. But it is indeed about race, because Hitler and the Nazis considered Jews to be an inferior race. Now, words matter, and mine are no exception. I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected. I also stand with the Jewish people, as they know, and y'all know, because I've always done that.
By the end of the Holocaust, just 77 years ago, 6 million Jews had been murdered.
That might not fit exactly or feel different than the way we think about race in 21st century America, where primarily it's about people of color. But throughout the Jewish people's history, they have been marginalized, they have been persecuted, they have been slaughtered, in large part because many people felt they were not just a different religion, but indeed a different race.
The head of the Anti-Defamation League warning anti-Semitism is still a real and present danger.
We need people on good faith on the left and the right to call this out forcefully, fully, without hesitation.
And studies show an alarming decline in knowledge about the Holocaust at a time when anti-Semitism has surged to unprecedented levels. The FBI saying Jews are the most targeted for religious-based hate crimes in this country.
Now look, she just said religious-based. Now I've always thought when it came to Judaism, Judaism is a religion, right, Shawn?
Yeah.
Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. It's monotheist. It's the oldest Judaism is the oldest monotheistic religion. Catholicism through Christianity is actually the world's largest, although Islam is rapidly catching up. And in fact, it's the fastest growing religion in the world. And to be honest, when it comes to, and I'm not saying that, of course, what happened to the Jews was terrible in World War II. World War II was not just about the Jews. It was also about what happened to them in Germany. But we forget Hitler was trying to take over the world. Yes, he was trying to wipe out the Jewish people. He blamed them for the problems of Germany and the economy. But he was also going after any other group that he felt were an inferior race. You even have what they call the Rhineland bastards in Germany. Black Afro-Germans who were executed. There were also Catholics that were executed, like Edith Stein, Saint Edith Stein. There were gypsies he went after. So it wasn't just them. It wasn't just Jews. I mean, I'm not marginalizing what happened to them. But I understood what Whoopi was trying to say from that. However, and Tyree, I know you're going, who financed Hitler? Well, you had, believe it or not, there were, and I've heard reports, there were Americans, of course, that helped finance Hitler. One of Hitler's biggest financiers was a guy named by the name of Fritz Thyssen. And Fritz Thyssen had connections with some banking institutions here in the United States. I even heard, and I can't think of his name, if you know in the chat, there was a Jewish man who I can't name. He's credited with saying, or he's infamous for saying, give us your children. Bring your children. If you know the quote that I'm talking about, Shawn, or if anybody, Jason Black was talking about it. I apologize for it because I should know it, but you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Bring us your, someone that he said, bring us your children. Yeah, it's Jason Black would know it. It's give me your children. And okay, so I found it. It was Cham Rukowski. Cham Rukowski said this. He was the head of the Jewish Council of Elders in the Lodz ghetto, appointed by Nazi Germany during the German occupation of Poland. That's who this is. Okay. I knew I wasn't lying. I knew I wasn't stupid. But this reporter just said religion, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think where Whoopi was going on. Remember, Whoopi is Jewish. She identifies as a Jew. That's why she changed the name Goldberg.
Yep.
And this is Cham Rukowski. And he sold out his own people. He's remembered as the head of the Judenrat. Rumkowski is remembered for his speech, "Give me your children," delivered at the time when the Germans demanded his compliance with the deportation of 20,000 children to the Chemno extermination camp. In August of 1944, Rumkowski and his family joined the last transport to Auschwitz, and he was murdered there on August 28, 1944, by Jewish Sonderkommando inmates who beat him to death as revenge for his role in the Holocaust. Give me your children. This was a Jewish man. The head of the Council of Elders. See what you get with following these old folks? Now, before I begin, and Shawn, I'm going to let you talk because I don't want to be too long, but, well, go ahead, Shawn. Tell us what you think of what happened with Whoopi.
Well, what happened with Whoopi is what happens when you get an integrated mindset. So your Whoopi Goldberg, she thinks she's an honorary white person. Actually, she thinks she's an honorary Jewish person. And she thought that she could go out here and make such a statement against Jews and not have to deal with any consequences. She thought she'd be able to get a pass because she had gained some honorary title, but she did not understand that there are certain groups here in America you just don't say anything against. And if you go out here and make a statement like Whoopi Goldberg had made, you're going to be labeled anti-Semitic because her whole statement, while it's basically she's talking about the religion that she says she's a part of because she's coming from a religious perspective, she doesn't understand how Adolf Hitler saw Jews, and he saw Jews as a race. Now, your Adolf Hitler, as he was fighting World War II, he basically, what he wanted to do was make Germans the master race, and he wanted to make them Aryans who were absolutely perfect white people. So what he wanted to do was he wanted to exterminate anyone who wasn't Aryan. And it's clear to me that your Whoopi Goldberg has become detached from history because she sees herself as not being a part of history anymore. And that's why she made this statement. And it didn't go over with the executives over at Disney. And the great irony of this whole situation is while your Whoopi Goldberg is in trouble with the executives at Disney, they're not looking at their founder, Walt Disney, who was a known anti-Semite and a known racist. So it's kind of interesting that they got upset about Whoopi Goldberg, but they don't understand whose name is on their corporation because the man who founded their corporation was one of the biggest anti-Semites who was out here denouncing Jews. But then Whoopi Goldberg, again, she alienated many of the executives who run Hollywood right now. And that's why they're sending her a warning because this is not a punishment. This is a warning. And the warning is if you come out here and speak against certain groups, you can find yourself practically out of a job sooner rather than later.
Yes. And this is the same Disney. Let's not forget that actually, so the same Disney that came at Stephen A. Smith when he said comments about women and domestic violence when we were talking about Ray Rice, and they suspended him for 2 weeks. So They made Stephen A. tuck his tails between his legs, and they made Karen Johnson, aka Whoopi Goldberg, realize that her skin was a lot darker
Yeah.
by doing this. And but here's the thing, Shawn. I want to ask you: should black people put on the cape for Whoopi Goldberg?
No, this has nothing to do with us. She walked away from us a long time ago. And what we need to do as foundational Black Americans is we need to walk away from the bootlick class and let the bootlick class deal with the consequences of white supremacy, because they were quick to detach themselves from us. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg did not say she was a black woman. She did not want to go out here and be a part of the black community. She did not want to help out other black people. So leave her to suffer the fate as related to whatever happens to her. And we need to create that as our standard for dealing with the bootlick class, because the bootlick class, what they think they can do is go out here, run their mouths, and talk about things because they're honorary white people. And I'm like, okay, you want to be honorary white people? Then whatever happens to you, happens to you. And we're just going to leave you to deal with whatever happens to you because you don't want to claim black. So whenever you get whatever moment that happens to you, we will use this as an example to teach others in the community why you need to stay with the community.
Now, look, I want you to look at this. Now, there's a difference between what you do at Zulu during Mardi Gras and blackface. Now, you see this. This is at the New York Friars Club back in 1993. And I actually remember when I was a kid going into grocery stores and I saw Ted Danson in blackface. Now, Whoopi should have been, to me, she was ostracized at that point. She was at the point of no return.
Yeah, I remember that, this whole encounter.
Now, what was fun, and it wasn't even funny. They said he was bombing so bad. And you have the mayor, Dave Dinkins, who was present, along with Michael Spinks, Montel Jordan, and a bunch of others. And she had Ted Danson do this routine in blackface at the New York Friars Club, which is, I believe, Jewish operated.
Yeah.
And I know at the Friars Club is everything goes. Everything goes is comedy and so forth. But from what people even described, it wasn't comedy, it was mean. Now, if you notice, even in the bottom right-hand corner here, or the bottom corner here, now, they even spoofed this, and that's Howard Stern. And guess who's playing Whoopi Goldberg?
Robin Quivers.
No.
Oh, that's a man? Ew.
That's Sherman Hemsley.
Embarrassing himself.
They always said stuff about George, but I'm not gonna go there. He's deceased.
Yeah.
But
George, that's embarrassing.
I couldn't believe he did that.
These black Hollywood types, they have no dignity.
But I want to share this story with you. Now, I remember this. So y'all remember this? If you remember, give me a thumbs up. And what's interesting, I got to point this out about that. When it happened, yeah, Montel Williams was present. Montel Williams even called Whoopi out for it because he didn't find it funny at all. But
I was disgusted by it when I saw it in college.
Whoopi defended it. But guess who also defended it? Who's that?
Beverly Johnson, the same woman who made allegations against Cosby.
Yes. She defended Danson's performance. If you can't see the humor at a place where there's supposed to be over-the-line jokes, then there's something really wrong. Now, Roger Ebert wrote this article. Dave Dinkins said later that he was embarrassed and that the jokes were pretty vulgar and many were way, way over the line. Goldberg, seated next to Danson, laughed and smiled at the material. Speaking last, she defended her friend. Let's get these words all out in the open. It took a whole lot of courage to come out in blackface in front of 3,000 people. I don't care if you didn't like it, I did. Goldberg said in a statement Saturday that she knew that what Danson and other speakers were planning, and that made the day particularly fun because these were people who loved me. Now, he repeatedly used the N-word. He repeatedly used nigger in and his quote unquote jokes. During Danson's monologue, talk show host Montel Williams turned his back to the audience to study the closed circuit screen. Then he stared at the floor. Next to him, director Gilbert Cates, who helmed the last 3 Oscar casts, muttered, "This is terrible. It was way over the line. He's completely lost it." Williams walked off the stage. So Vanessa Williams was president. Mr. T was present. Mr. T should have just knocked him out.
Yeah.
Boxers with Michael Spinks and Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, send Sam Malone back to the bar. He ate a watermelon and ended in his performance the worst train wreck. They call it the worst train wreck since The Fugitive. This is Roger Ebert. Some people left. Some people hid their faces. Yeah. And to me, Whoopi was never even that funny. I never really enjoyed her as a stand-up. I never really enjoyed her stand-up, like talking about it. I've seen her movies and stuff, but I wasn't really impressed. I never seen a Whoopi. I couldn't tell you my favorite Whoopi Goldberg joke. Anything like that. Yes, and you're right, DeAndre. Whoopi backtracked her defensive comments on Bill Cosby. She originally defended him, and she was questioning Beverly Johnson. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you remember that roast? You didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it back then. I called him Ted Klansman after I saw it. Man, I never had respect for Ted Danson after that. I was absolutely disgusted by him, because if you go to that level, that just shows how much of a racist you truly are. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting to see a man do this. And it's what even worse is that we got your Whoopi Goldberg co-signing this after seeing that these kind of minstrel shows, they were not meant to entertain. They were meant for people to laugh at Black people and make mockery of them. And she was fine with that, because she thought after winning that Oscar for Ghost, she had arrived. She thought, oh, I'm going to get in with these white folks, and I'm going to go along because I'm an honorary white person. Well, what she's finding now is that that whole honorary white person card can easily be revoked if you go out here and you agitate the wrong people. And one of the ways you get your honorary white person card revoked is by going out here and speaking against Jewish people. That's a way you wind up getting your honorary white person card revoked. And another one is just speaking against certain individuals and certain institutions. And that's what's happened here with Whoopi Goldberg, is that they've given her a warning that they're gonna revoke her white person card, and she's on notice, and that's why she's running scared. But this is part of the bootlick class, and this is why we need to stay away from the bootlick class and let them get whatever beatings they receive, because they want to be slaves. And okay, whatever happens to you on the plantation happens to you on the plantation.
That is correct, Shawn. James, very much so correct. Now, if we want to talk and stay on the bootleg class, from my perspective, I'm glad you brought this up, Shawn, because I would like to talk about why I lost all respect for Michael Edward Dyson. But first, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, donate to the Cash App, Gavin Richard Esquire. If you want to support this channel and you like the chat, yeah, I was doing Shawn a little bit. Yeah, but speaking of bootleg class, have you seen this thing with? I think Whoopi should have been suspended and canceled after Sister Act 2, but let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Why I lost all respect for Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. So your Dr. Dyson has been, of course, he's exposed. I mean, he's gone full blown coon. I think for a long time. It really started with his comments about Bill Cosby, where he said Bill Cosby had been raping the Black community longer than anybody, or so I'm paraphrasing. And I was disgusted by his comments and remarks about that. Now, the actual quote, yes, he said he has been, according to, this is from the Rap, he said on Now with Alex Wagner, Dyson commented on Cosby's call over the weekend for black media to remain neutral in covering the mounting sexual allegations against the comedian. The very kind of man who would rape women allegedly is the same kind of man who will rape an entire black community, poor black people who are vulnerable before him, using his powerful foot to clump down on their necks. That's how Dyson talks, right? Dyson is a preacher. So he tries to get you with that preacher talk. You know, the eloquent of the black chocolate drop that gets the vanilla extract. Without the vanilla extract, the cookie does not taste sweeter. So we need that sweetness that can only come from whiteness so that the black woman can progress indubitably in this country. So you will see in this video, but that's how he talks, right? And I originally liked the man at first because I had several of his books, like I May Not Get There With You. I also have his book, Is Bill Cosby Right? I bought it years ago. I actually met Michael Eric Dyson. I had his phone number and stuff where I could contact him, and he seemed cool, but I cannot believe the level of cooning that I'm seeing. So look at this, and Tariq Nasheed talked about this, but look what he has to say in defense of Joe Biden picking a black woman to be the nominee of Supreme Court and blaming black men.
Some of these women married to white men. Yeah, I'm gonna go there this morning. Oh my God. Well, look, I don't know their situation, but this is what I do know. Some of them, a lot of them are dark-skinned black women, and some Negroes got a problem seeing the beauty in dark-skinned black women. Don't you be mad because a white boy came along and saw what you threw away. I ain't saying that's everybody. I ain't saying that's everything. I'm not saying it's universal. But before you rag on them, understand the story. Some of these darker skinned black women don't get no love. Could be at a place like Harvard, Princeton, and Yale, and the brothers dating all white women. Now that's their choice if they want to do that, but look at the demonization of darkness. Look at the chocolate charm that's being overlooked. Look at it, and we got everything in the book: vanilla vitality, caramel cuteness, chocolate charm, mocha magic. We got it all, bruh. And yet we overlook that, right? Because we think that the white man's water is wetter. And skin and flesh is sweeter and sexier. So don't be mad at black women who refusing to be by themselves if they wanted to be a partner, accepted the love and devotion of a white man who saw their value beyond their skin in a way that certain black men could, or saw the beauty and value in their skin, not transcending their darkness, inhabiting it in delicious fashion. But that's another story. So the thing is
So the thing is that the black woman who is the eloquent of beautifulness can come down in ratchetness from a black man. You see, you've got to do this indubitably because no one else will understand what I have to say, because I talk in such big words that you must think that I am smart, but really I am wrapping around big words so that I can entice you, so that you might lice me and nice me, so that you all will agree with what I have to say. So, hey, float if you boat, nuck if you buck, nip if you tuck. It is okay to do this because you cross in the green, but never in between. I have the butter biscuits because I love the misfits. I don't know. I couldn't think of nothing else to rhyme with that, but but that is essentially how your Dr. Michael Eric Dyson talks. You know, I have gone full Umar Johnson, although it's more Lumar nonsense. I talk so eloquently so you can be with the Democratic Party. Yes, Bishop, he is a pawn. I've learned he was a pawn for the Democratic Party for a long time. He actually put out an ad. I remember when he put out that 10,000 word essay dissing Dr. Cornel West, because Cornel West criticized Barack Obama, but Dyson was all on Obama. You remember, Shawn?
Yeah.
All on Obama's nuts. Just, but he was someone I once had a lot of respect for, but he's just gone full blast coon. And let's not forget what he did with Kobe Bryant, where he tried to defend Gayle King attacking Snoop Dogg, talking about the disrespect of black women. The issue was not Kobe attacking, I'm sorry, Snoop attacking Gayle because she was a woman. He was attacking her, and really not attacking, he was responding to something she said because she attacked a dead man. But Shawn, go ahead. I know you're sitting quietly. I want you to go ahead and
Yeah. Well, your Michael Eric Dyson just shows how much of a shill he is for these leftists and how much of a minstrel he is. I mean, he needs to wipe the biscuit dust off his mouth before he starts speaking because this was one of them plantation type speeches because he's sitting here supporting swirling and going along with these judges all because he wants to get a spot in with Joker Joe Biden, the same Joker Joe who shows how little respect he has for black people. And your Michael Eric Dyson shows how little respect he has for himself because he doesn't understand that those same black women he's advocating and putting on his Ben Cooper cape and Mickey Mouse galoshes on for are the same women who have nothing but contempt for him, especially the foreign-born black female judges. They all, again, think that they are honorary white women. And when they look at this Negro, they don't see anybody they have any respect for. They just see a guy who they would love to just see destroyed. And he's sitting up there putting on his cape and his Mickey Mouse galoshes, trying to play Captain Save 'em, females who deify and worship white men. Now he's thinking he's a special Negro, but he's not a special Negro because when those women got involved with those white men, they don't see him they don't see him as anybody they even care about. And he doesn't even understand when those black women talk bad about black men, they're talking about him too, thinking he's in a special class. I'm going to go out here and advocate for these swirlers. But he doesn't understand that the policies that these kind of swirlers put out here, they are detrimental to black people. Because if any of these females were to come into that same Supreme Court, you're going to get the same response that you get from your Clarence Thomas, who also swirls on the other side. And both sides are both promoting the same white supremacy and anti-black racism. And what's sad is they've got a black person promoting these type of narratives. And that's what your Michael Eric Dyson is co-signing on because he's, again, a bootlick and a part of the bootlick class. And he wants to continue thinking that if he advocates for these people, he'll get some butter biscuits, but all he's going to get is one big boot in the backside, the same that your Roland Martin got just a few years ago.
Don't talk about me. I'm a man. I'm a biscuit. I see Roland is even on Facebook. He actually invited, I heard someone share with me, Kamau Bell on his channel to talk about the Bill Cosby hit piece. And he was actually in that docu-series, by the way. That mockumentary. It's not a It's not a documentary. It's a mockumentary. And I guess I can go into that, but let me just say this about Dr. Dyson right quick. You guys got to stop letting people, because they're eloquent and can talk so fast and so intellectually, think that they are smart. I saw Michael Eric Dyson actually losing the debate to Glenn Ford of Black Agenda Report. And he actually called him out on his BS. I lost a lot of respect for Dyson for the last, I would say, 5-6 years, because all he has been is a shill for the Democratic Party. And we got to get rid of these shills, flat out. If they're not promoting an agenda, if they're not for us, if they're for other groups they're trying to advance. And let's not forget what he said when he talked about, again, with that incident with Kobe Bryant. Let's see if we can pull it up. I think Tariq Nasheed has it. Someone has it. It was on. I'm trying to find that video if they have it, but I'll have to find a video. But if you go back and look, he was talking about Kobe Bryant and essentially what he did. I know TD Hip Hop even showed the video, but he was talking about, you know, that incident with Kobe and what happened at the hotel. Not necessarily mentioning that incident there, but implying and then trying to defend Gayle King because Snoop called her a funky dog-headed bitch when she attacked a dead man, Shawn.
Yeah.
She attacked a dead man, and Dyson didn't have the smoke for her remarks. He disregarded that. He disregarded that. And let's go back here. Hold on. I have it here.
My brothers and sisters, the response to Gayle King's interview with Lisa Leslie contains many elements that I think are deeply and profoundly problematic. To begin with, I loved Kobe Bryant and mourn him to this day. I knew him well. We had a tremendous relationship and friendship. The last game he played in Washington, D.C., I was there, and he gave me a profound and long hug that is captured on video. I wrote the essay in Slam magazine, the cover story on Kobe Bryant when he retired, calling him the best ever. So I love him, appreciate him, and more especially love what he did with his life after that horrendous event in Colorado.
Now stop.
Many people, me included, believed Kobe Bryant when he said he did not rape that young lady. And yet he apologized to her because he recognized that though he thought it was a moment of consent, she did not.
Okay, stop right there. Although he thought it was a moment of consent, she did not. He went to court for this, and this was thrown out, sir. They know if for what. If it's thrown out, the court threw it out, he's innocent. By definition, by the law. Am I right, Shawn?
Yeah. He's innocent because the courts could not find any evidence of wrongdoing.
They found no evidence. Well, it wasn't just that they found no evidence of wrongdoing. The young lady who he's talking about, she apparently, and I know people may get upset when I say this, but they had about 3 or 4 different male semen samples in her drawers. Now I bring this up. Now people think you're shaming the victim. No, I'm bringing up reasonable doubt. Because when it went to court, they realized what had happened. And even at the court hearing, what happened is that the woman admits that yes, it was sex and was consensual, but she says it was just very painful. And Kobe apologized. Oh, I'm sorry, and that was it. And then she does a rap video, tries to start a rap career, and I've seen it myself, trying to support her rap career, talking about this incident. So you have to question that behavior. It's not victim. You know, they came up with this in a documentary. When you ask women questions, you're asking them, you're victim blaming. No, it's called confrontation clause. You accuse some people of anything, guess what? That person has a right to confront you. 6th Amendment of the Constitution. That's why it's just allegations. If you don't bring them in court, it's just talk.
And instead of attempting to demonize her, he owned up to his own complicity in a situation that led this young woman to believe that he had done something to her against her will. And in confessing his own apology. He did not say that he raped her. He did not believe he did. He believed, therefore, in retrospect, that she did, and owned up to acknowledging the horrendous consequences of what happened. And not only did he give an apology, his life changed in the aftermath.
All right, this is what ended it for me. I'm gonna stop right there. But you all see how he became Captain Simp, trying to defend Gail and Oprah. I'll give you the final floor, Shawn.
Well, this is par for the course with your bootlegs. They love to put on the cape and play Captain Save 'em for these white women, and that's something that we see right here as related to Michael Eric Dyson's comments about your Kobe Bryant. He's out here looking to get brownie points with white women, and he was trying to get those brownie points by throwing a dead man under the bus, and that was really the saddest part about your Michael Eric Dyson. He would be willing to even just desecrate a man's passing to get those brownie points. But this is par for the course with your black beta male simps. They deify again, that like just like the black woman deifies and worships white men. You have these guys who deify and worship white women. And he thought, oh, this is going to get me some brownie points, but it just shows you how much of a butter biscuit minstrel he is, and how he'll do anything for butter biscuits, and how he has absolutely, no dignity and self-respect, and he just does not value his own black self. And this is the kind of guy you need to stay away from, because he'll stab you in the back if there's a white person there, because he's a true to the game race traitor.
Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Yes, the word salad career of Michael Eric Dyson is exposed and over. You got it, Black Voltron. Yes, let me have that word salad that's filled with honey mustard, or you can have it a choice of Thousand Island or Ranch or Caesar. It goes good going down. It feels good going down. So go down and vote Democrat for Hillary, because she has earned it. She has the fallopian tubes of any woman who will go down in history as the first person with an X chromosome to be the president, along with your Kamala Harris. My brothers and sisters, that word salad that I just threw down on you, there is nothing like it. Have it with a crouton and bet on it. Yes, he's a fake conscious rapper. Hit that. I just had to do that. But speaking of bootlicks, I guess we can go on this Kamau Bell hit piece on Cosby is a dud. Now, I reviewed the film, and I will be doing a review and uploading that. I believe I'm gonna try to do that this weekend if I can, sometime soon as possible. It was a flat dud. Now, Kamau Bell's piece, and we talked about this, Shawn. We need to talk about Cosby. Debuted at Sundance earlier this year at the Sundance Film Festival, and then it was released on Showtime back on January 30th of 2022 over the weekend. And I happened to take a look at Showtime statistics. I wanted to see exactly what their statistics were like during the week of February 1st. So I had a chance to review it, and let me just share with you all this. This is the review that we have from the website. If you take a look here, the TV ratings for the season, last updated, the shows, TV show ratings as of February 1st. It's not even here.
And then we're right in the middle of sweeps, which is a big ratings period.
Yes. This is when they determine when shows get canceled or whether they get renewed.
So this stunt was a major disaster.
It was not even, well, to do that, it wasn't even trending on Twitter. If we go to the stats here, for the weekend of January 30th. So 3 days ago, the Australian Open was trending. Wasn't even trending. And I saw, I'm just going to tell you, because I don't want to give everything away from my commentary, but the level of cooning on that show, on that mockumentary, hit a new record. The black people, the people who have PhDs by their name that were on there, most of the people on that channel, Shawn, and you could probably guess, they were either LGBTQ, they were either feminist or coons. They had one person, I'll say who, one person that they even had one lawyer. This Negro was talking about how he cringed reading Cosby's deposition, where Cosby was talking about fingering Andrea Constance. Like, oh man, you know, if she don't say anything, that's you can't do that. But they left out certain details in the documentary. For instance, they didn't talk about the fact that Constance continued to have relationships with Bill Cosby. She continued to see this man.
Yeah.
She gave him gifts even after the incident. This is after the incident. You had Moise Lamont Schill, who was there talking about how it wasn't a conspiracy. You know, he tried to buy NBC. Judge Joe Brown mollywopped him. Every article that's out there on the internet says that Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC back in the 90s and in 2011. But it was not a documentary. It was a mockumentary. It was a hit piece. And W. Kamau Bell is worried that this is going to ruin his career. You know what I say? What career?
He doesn't have a career. He's done.
I didn't know this nigga. I'm being real.
No, nobody knew who he was.
He needs to be worried, because you know what? When they use him up, like they always do, they get thrown to the wolves.
He's going to be begging.
Wolves, as Dorian Rain said.
Excuse me.
This fake ass Don King. It looked like a broke ass Questlove. I stand by my words. I ain't taking nothing back. That was a disgrace.
Yep.
Here's why he's very worried about the public's response to we need to talk about Cosby. And something about this Sundance Film Festival. I said this again. There's going to be another documentary. Mark my words, in 2023, we need to talk about Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm calling it right now. Oh, we need to talk about Soul Limited, the Don Cornelius rape story, which we're going to talk about in a minute. They had Soul Unlimited on BET. It's going to be Soul Limited. So they're going to limit all references to Soul Train. But just read this. I'm very worried about it. It is a very charged situation, especially with people, with him getting out of prison. It becomes even more charged. This is for people who grew up in Cosby's America. It is a difficult thing to talk about. I think the documentary is more nuanced than a lot of people we're expecting, or a lot complicated. Well, I sit here and I'm still not sure how we'll come through this on the other side. You didn't come through nothing. It didn't go anywhere. And I even saw, and he had been criticizing uh, the the document. He had been criticizing Bill Cosby. You know who actually spoke up? Pierre from Comedy Hype News. He said, "I didn't even know who this guy is. I've been in the black circles and I never saw this dude." He said, "You know, I don't know why are we beating a dead horse. Bill Cosby's career is over. Sadly, it's over. So what's to talk about this? Why we keep going back with something that already went to court twice? It was a mistrial, the first trial. Then it ended up being a conviction. We know it was a wrongful conviction because the Supreme Court said it should have never happened."
Yeah. Well, it's a surprise. It's not really a surprise, but people are just tired of this story that's already been put through the court system. And Richard W. Kamau Bell thought he was going to be a star with this documentary, and now he's finding out that nobody cares about him. And really, his career is over at this point because now that white supremacy can't use him as a bootlick to go out here and shill for them, his days are practically numbered at this point. So when it comes to your W. Kamau Bell, he's practically over. And that's why he's scared, because he was hoping, wishing, and praying he could go out here and piggyback on demonizing Bill Cosby to springboard his career. But he's not going to be able to do that the way Hannibal Buress was able to. And that's why he's scared of his career being over, because as a bootleg, he needed to go out here and have a success with demonizing Bill Cosby, but he's not going to be able to get that success now. So now he's really scared that these white folks are about to drop him, and they are going to drop him off right at the Safeway where your Hannibal Buress is working right now, bagging groceries, and his career is practically over. Now, this docuganda, this propaganda hit piece, had no effect, and it really shows how much of a failure it is, because if you cannot generate numbers during a sweeps period, that means that and you can't get ratings during a sweeps period, that means that this show is an abysmal failure, and that's really going to put a thing to just say that's the end of your W. Kamau Bell and the end of his career in Hollywood at this point. So if W. Kamau Bell right now, he should be looking to put in some applications at some of these retail spots, because his career in Hollywood is over at this point.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say this man, yeah, it wasn't even, I'm looking here directly on spoilertv.com. I'm looking at what the #1 show was for the weekend, on Sunday, January 30th. I'm looking here. They had ABC, The Rookie, Fight or Flight, Power Book 2, Ghost, Euphoria, Claws, Righteous Gemstones, Interlude 2. You know what Showtime shows were? And this wasn't even in the top. This wasn't even #1. This is like let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8. Billions in Lion Eyes.
That's
and I'm gonna just show you. Y'all can look right here if y'all don't believe me. Now, of course, this is The Root, and I don't like quoting The Root. But this is it here. But nobody knew who this Kamau Bell was. He's got a show on CNN. And speaking of CNN, you saw that Jeff Zucker had to step down because he was getting handsy freely. He was in a relationship with a coworker and stepped down. So yeah. CNN is on fire.
They're on their way out. The whole culture of CNN is it's a wreck. And I said it's the whole culture there, and they're gonna have to clean house. They might have to even shut that channel down because it's a
Well,
failure.
it's being bought, I thought, by the Discovery Network. The people that
Yeah,
are they are buying it, and they're
because
changing.
there are
A lot of
YouTubers who have more than they do.
Zucker was supposed to step down last year, supposedly, but they said it was not the case, and he switched over. Yeah, so it's a dub. But this is the ratings table. Y'all just look. The Rookie, Fight or Flight, Power, Book 2, Ghost, A Fair Fight, Euphoria. Nothing about We Need to Talk About Cosby. But I'm actually glad it came out. You know why I'm glad, Shawn? Because it gives us gave me the opportunity, and it gives me a sense of gumption as to why I do what I do, why I believe in the presumption of innocence, why we do this as criminal defense lawyers, because lynch mobs cannot work. We cannot have lynch mobs running this nation. And when you're accused of something, as tough as it may sound, whether you're being accused of petty theft, whether you're accused of blowing up a building with infants inside, you are innocent until proven guilty, no matter how bad the allegation is. And what I saw are people who were emotion driven. Now, We Need to Talk About Cosby finished dead last, second to last, 149 out of 150.
Wow.
As of Wednesday, February 2nd. The only thing lower than that was 48 hours of Gilligan's Island. Wait, Gilligan beat it at 140. It was 147. You got beat by a 56-year-old TV show. Well, more people wanted to sit right back and hear a tale than you tell them tall tales of all that shit on Cosby. Just sit right back and you hear a tale of a fateful trip. You have any last thing you want to say about this, Shawn?
Yeah, well, this just shows that for all of the hype about wanting to talk about Cosby, nobody wants to listen to all of this propaganda that is being pushed to demonize Bill Cosby. And this is something that I'm very happy to see that this whole docuganda flopped, and we will never see W. Kamau Bell again after this. Outside of if you're at the Safeway and you need to have some groceries bagged, the only way you're going to see this guy is over there. But his career is over now, and the whole campaign against Cosby, I'm hoping that these people will realize that nobody cares anymore, and all of these efforts to try to malign black men with this whole agenda has fallen apart, and they just need to move on. And I'm really happy to see W. Kamau Bell just learn the hard way that if he goes out here and takes shots at our elders, he will be dealing with some pushback. Because if it wasn't for all those new black media people out here letting everybody know to avoid this docuganda, this show could have possibly been something that could have gone out here and gained some traction. But everybody came out, spoke out against it, and we did the thing that we were supposed to do, and that was not watch this garbage. And by not watching this garbage, we have ensured that this bootleg's career is practically over at this point.
Yeah, you got beat by 48 hours of Gilligan's Island, man.
You got destroyed.
I gotta laugh at that. Gilligan, the skipper too. The millionaire, Lovey. Why can't I watch Cosby, Lovey? I want to watch. We need to talk about Cosby, Lovey. Oh, Thurston. That is funny. That's comedy.
You gonna be bagging them groceries.
Yeah. Well, you know the other thing about it too, and they would try, and I'm going to do a review on it, but even insulting his doctorates, I saw one, you know, one fool, Todd Boyd. You ever heard of him, Dr. Todd Boyd from USC? He was talking about, well, you know, the doctorate of the EDD, really, that's the lowest doctorate you can get. You know, talking about he really didn't earn Cosby's doctorates. I mean, it's his.
Now, somebody gave it to him, and so he had to have earned it.
That's like the lowest doctorate for lawyers is Juris Doctor, and guess what? That's what all lawyers have, just about. That's all we need to practice law. If I want to waste another 3-4 years getting an LLM and being called a doctor of law, yeah, I could do that, but I'm not gonna keep giving people my money.
Yeah, why get in the debt and spend a bunch of money when you can
I'm
just
already
get
in
the
debt.
basic?
Thank you. No, they never gave back the money. All the schools that he gave money to, they never gave back. But I'm gonna do a whole review on it, and you should see even the women that were in there. Oh my God, Shawn, you ought to just watch. If you're gonna do a commentary on it, because you would go off. But I know, and shout out to Nicole, because Nicole was in the chat, and she's gonna come out when I talk about Cosby. But I hope Nicole is still there. But Nicole was talking to me earlier, and she was so mad. She wanted to. She was so mad. She at that one at that one woman. She said that called Cosby a rapist. I said, the this lesbian, well, they all were just about. All of them looked like they could be. The only thing, I better not. But she called him a rapist.
How can she call him a rapist when he never did anything?
He never been convicted.
Nope.
But you see, he didn't have Judge Joe Brown on. Judge Joe Brown would have mollywopped all of them. You went there, you got some so that you could get some in Hollywood. And now you want to complain about it? I was at the Playboy Mansion, and these hoes, they went around, they sucked, they ducked, they dried, they laid it on the side, and now they want to complain when their face don't work and they got too much Botox in them. You ain't making no comeback, heifer. Get on out of here. He didn't talk to the black legal authority. No, that's true. But I'm sure Nicole was going to punch this TV. She probably did punch the TV screen, did you, Nicole? And they had one fool. I was talking to Harvey. This big, he looks like a linebacker that comes on MSNBC. That was talking. Khalil J. Cobb. That's him. Yeah. Is that him? No, it's not him. I'm sorry. Delaney Cobb. Yeah. They always bring these Negroes out. And look, they consider themselves doctors. They put their titles by their name, just like they're claiming Cosby did. But they clearly have no knowledge of the case.
Nope.
They're speaking on emotion. Mark Lamont Hill, who was there, and he's talking about Cosby. He even admitted he basically had a bias against Cosby because Cosby tried to get his ass fired. Because he wrote an article about Cosby he didn't like, that Cosby didn't like. And guess what? I wouldn't like it either if a mouse motherfucker was talking about me. I don't have to talk to you. Do you?
Yeah.
Get over yourself. And attacking people defending the fact that the man is out. He shouldn't have been in jail. The court said it.
He was tried on a deposition that should have never been admitted.
No. So y'all support the Cash App, please. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. We're also going to get into this. I'm trying to get to this. So Don Cornelius being accused of sexual assault. Shawn, I know you did a video on this, but for those that don't know, they have this docu-series called Secrets of Playboy, right? And this woman, her name is PJ Matson, who is a former budding mother, made allegations during the docu-series on Secrets of Playboy. Now, that name Matson, for all of you, may sound very familiar on this channel because PJ Matson is the same woman that accused Dr. Cosby of rape. That's her. Not only did she accuse Dr. Cosby, but she also accused Marv Albert. So she stated as a bunny mother that Maston stated that Cornelius had asked for these two 20 and 21-year-olds at the time to go back to his house for a party. The former bunny mom said she hired the women because they were adorable. Matson first became a bunny mom in 1975, breaking her back when she fell down a flight of concrete stairs in Great George in a Touch Weekly report. She said, when I was ready to go back to work, I couldn't do a bunny dip, so I transferred to the New York club as the assistant bunny mother, and that's how I came into management. Matson said the two women, so wait, if she was in New York, how she got to California? Well, that's another story. Matson said the two women got into Cornelius's car after they met in Hollywood. She said they didn't have any fear at that time that these two young girls got in his Rolls Royce and went to his house. The bunny mother claimed that the pair was separated while at Cornelius' home, adding she didn't hear from them for 3 days. She alleged that the two women were tied up and bound at the property. Matson claimed that Playboy's head of security at the time, Joe Piastrio, found the girls bloodied and battered. In the episode, she claimed the sister who allegedly escaped didn't call the police. The bunny mom alleged that she couldn't call the police because of Playboy rules. Matson says she had to pick up the pieces of these kids, adding that no one knew what they went through. No charges were ever filed against Cornelius, leaving the bunny mom outraged. Now look how they do this to brother Mr. Cornelius. There was a disclaimer that was put up. And even though they don't have it here, I distinctly remember the disclaimer even from Playboy saying that they believe the women. But they said in the disclaimer that in the Playboy documentary, the vast majority of allegations haven't been subject to criminal probes or charges. Hugh Hefner's son tweeted, "Some may not approve of the life my dad chose, but my father was not a liar." Now, nobody said this shit while Hugh Hefner was alive. He just died almost 4 years ago and nobody's saying anything. Now we want to say stuff when he's dead. And they lived that life. She was a mother. She was a former Playboy bunny and then became a mother. And truth be told, and you said this in your video, Shawn, Playboy, while it may have been popular, it was also taboo because it was the porn industry. Am I right?
Yeah, it was very taboo. And it's not a magazine that most people had on their tables. They had it hidden away. So
right. And as I'm looking at this, so They mentioned his domestic violence charges back in 2008. That was unrelated. Then they mentioned his suicide. Now, timing is everything because when this came out, Shawn, I don't know if you knew this, but it was 10 years to the anniversary of Don Cornelius's death.
I just figured that out just a while back when Mr. Superboy made the video on it.
Yes.
And this is a way to malign Don Cornelius's name and his reputation. That's the way I see it.
So let me get this straight. Now, I have to say in fairness, I had heard this before this documentary came out because there's this black woman who has a YouTube channel that does all of the celebrity scandals and stuff like that. I have her, let me see if I can find it right quick, because I did hear her say this before, but it was only a few days before this came out. So if she saw an unedited version of this, or if she saw this before it was released and is saying it, I don't know that. If she heard it from someone else, I don't know that either. It could be. But bottom line is that none of these allegations made it to court. That's ultimately what we got to deal with. Don Cornelius has never been convicted. It's Ashley Say So. Anybody knows her? She has over 100,000 subscribers.
What's up?
105 subscribers. And she did mention this. However, whether I choose to believe it or not, even if it did happen, there's nothing that can come from it. He's deceased and cannot. Is this disclaimer a way to avoid the lawsuit? A lawsuit? It could be. I think a disclaimer is just to put up also just for image based because they don't want to affect their bottom line. But you know, Playboy really, thank you, one who cares. Yeah, Ashley Say So. That was her. But Playboy essentially has been losing money anyway. The Playboy company is no longer operated, I believe, by Hugh Hefner.
No, it was sold.
His family. Not even the Playboy mansion when Hugh Hefner was still living there. That was sold, and he just was renting out of there. But this is her old Hollywood scandals, and she was talking about Don Cornelius. Now, I don't know if this was, and the problem with stuff like this, with gossip and so forth, there's no way to verify it because either the time period has passed and the people involved are dead. Send Jeff Zucker a copy of your book, Shawn.
Yeah, he definitely needs a copy. I have to do that video about him tomorrow, come and see. Because there's a couple videos I need to do. One is about Jeff Zucker, and another one is about a subject called powdered dusty white boys, but that might be a live stream.
Yeah. But at any rate, what do you make of this? I know I've seen the video, but and can someone say, can they sue? Here's the thing though, the dead can't speak. The dead are dead. So a dead person can't bring a slander suit because he's deceased. It's the same thing with Michael Jackson with Leaving Neverland. Family could not sue because Michael is deceased and that's a personal right. However, the only reason why the state filed the lawsuit was because in that clause, that contract they had with HBO was nobody was supposed to disparage Michael Jackson, his image. It was a non-disparage clause. And the lawyers, kudos to them who drew it up, they were able to come back 29 years later when this documentary or mockumentary, if you want to call it, came out and said, hey, you're defaming Michael Jackson, the estate. So as a result, they filed suit. And that's why it was approved. That's why the suit was not dismissed. And I believe it's going through arbitration as we speak now. But Shawn, go ahead. I'm going to let you talk on this one.
Well, this whole allegation against Don Cornelius is a two-pronged attack. It's one, an attack to malign the reputation and legacy of the great Soul Train creator and founder. And it's designed to go out here and make it where they can put some dirt on his legacy. Because Don Cornelius was a black man who went out here and created a show that was on the same level of American Bandstand. And they
Better
wanted
than American Bandstand.
yeah.
Even
But the whole thing is he was able to actually go out here and make this on his own without any help from anyone in Hollywood. That upsets a lot of these white supremacists who want to go out here and destroy his legacy. So the man has been dead for several years, and this woman is coming out with this allegation to out here on a cowardly way, because if something had happened like this, you would think she would have again gone to law enforcement, and because all the incidents she's talking about took place all outside of Playboy property, and you would think that Hugh Hefner would have wanted to make sure that an individual like your Don Cornelius, if he participated in these deviant sexual acts, would be put in prison for assaulting his employees off the or outside of the facilities of his mansion. Because to have such an individual out here participating in this type of violence, that went against the Playboy brand. Now, Playboy was adult entertainment, but it was not an adult entertainment that promoted sexual violence. And you would think that they would have wanted to go out here and do something to deal with Don Cornelius if he had participated in these alleged actions. That's where I find it to be suspect, because again, this action, she said, took place in, I think, the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, it was in the 70s.
And if it took place in the 70s, 1975, we were only about 5 years after the last lynching as related to Jim Crow that was reported, because they said lynchings took place even in the 70s. So we have an incident
now too.
Yeah, we have an incident where we're still coming right out of Jim Crow America. And if this happened with a white female being assaulted by a black man like this, you would think they would immediately, your Hugh Hefner and Playboy would immediately want to go to the police, file a police report, because again, this goes counter to what Hugh Hefner was representing in Playboy. While he was talking about sex, he often talked about it as related to being consensual, and this was an act of sexual violence and sexual deviancy. So they would want to see this black man prosecuted, and because he violated young white women, they would go out of their way to see this man prosecuted. So when you look at this whole case from the context of history, her allegations make no logical sense, because I doubt that your Hugh Hefner and people at Playboy would want to cover up such a thing as related to a black man, as related to the abuse of a white woman. Because again, a white woman could easily walk into any LAPD precinct, and she could have easily gone out here and filed a police report against your Don Cornelius and had him arrested back then, because your Don Cornelius was not a big wheel. And many people in Hollywood did not like Don Cornelius at all, because he was out here making the Soul Train show and doing it outside of Hollywood. So they would have a motive to take him down if he participated in these kinds of actions, because his show was syndicated. That's another thing people don't really understand about Don Cornelius. His show was syndicated, and this would be the thing that many of those white producers and white bosses of networks and small local networks would use to deny a black man access to their networks and to generate wealth at their expense. So when I listen to her story, it doesn't make any logical sense when you look at the timeline, when you look at the history, and you look at the context of history. It makes no logical sense. And when I listen to her story, it just sounds like another woman looking to revise history to make some girls out to be the victim of an action that never happened as related to sexual violence. What I believe happened was these girls went to Don Cornelius's home after meeting him at that bar. They had some deviant sexual encounter, that they participated in for several days, and that's what they got turned out. And then they wanted to make it look like it's something that it's not. But what happened was it was just a consensual sexual relationship, and now they want to revise history to make Don Cornelius the bad guy when he wasn't the bad guy at all, and they were equally culpable in their actions. That's what it looks like to me as related to this incident. It looks like to me that you're trying to revise history because a lot of these women who are out here in Hollywood, they were out here trading their backsides for supposed parts and appearances on TV shows. And they thought because they were, young and pretty, they could trade themselves for these parts and these roles. And what happened was a lot of times these girls got turned out, and they don't want to sit there and think about how they were out here prostituting themselves in Hollywood now that they're older and they can no longer trade on their looks. They're thinking about their memories of the past. And what's happening is a lot of these women, they want to revise history to make themselves out to be the victim. And that's what they're trying to do here with this whole Don Cornelius story. It's a bunch of women trying to revise history to make themselves out to be the victim, when in actuality, they were just as complicit with Don Cornelius and participating in deviant sexual acts. And they don't want to sit there and think about all they've done. And that's what's happening to a lot of women. They don't want to think about all the stuff that they did. And now that they're thinking about it, they want to make themselves out to be the victim to get some attention and get a little bit of small change. And that's what they want to do as related to this whole allegation. Because I don't believe, again, Don Cornelius did this because, again, 5 years outside of Jim Crow, this would have been a major scandal. And Don Cornelius' Soul Train would have been taken off the air faster than you could say Love, Peace, and Soul.
And yeah, so between the time he's introducing the mighty OJs, he's kidnapping snow bunnies.
I don't believe that.
Now look at this. Now I don't know if this can be verified, but this supposedly is from Miss Madsen's Facebook page. Can you shut? So this is what she said. The best times of our lives, Sherry, talking about being a Playboy bunny. If this is, if they can verify this.
I've seen it verified by Jason Black.
Jason Black he just did this?
Yeah, he talked about this on his Twitter, and I've seen others put it up. And
well, that's her Facebook page. So I'm going off that.
It's a classic female revising history to make herself out to be a victim, but she wasn't a victim. And what happened at the Playboy Mansion, a lot of these women were doing stuff and they don't want to own up to it now. So what they want to do is say it's somebody else, but something else happened, but it's them participating in these type of deviant behaviors, and they got to live with it, but they just don't want to acknowledge it and see it for what it is.
Yeah.
Because we're going to see a lot of these type of
stories.
stories.
Was, listen, my father was talking about this yesterday. We were having a discussion. Nobody went to that mansion and did not expect the stuff that they saw.
Yeah, it was basically a whorehouse.
He made it no secret. He made it no secret. You still hung around him. You still did. I'm talking about Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
He was not liked, actually, by many of the feminists back in the day. If you go look at some old interviews.
No, they hated him.
They hated him. Oh, they despised him. And Hugh Hefner, I'll just say this. In regards to the civil rights movement, he was very in favor of, Black rights. He actually gave money to Dick Gregory when Dick Gregory wanted to go down to Mississippi and investigate the 3 civil rights workers. He actually put up the bond so that they could find the 3 workers. And, Dick Gregory helped solve that case before anybody. Now, this is not to say I defend his lifestyle or what Hugh Hefner represents, but it's just like, and he was a pop culture icon for all that time. So it's like, why are we? I just don't understand why we're talking about this now. He was liked. He was a pop culture icon. Bill, I think it was VH1 had him like in the top 200 icons of all time. Nobody said anything then. Back in 2003 when they did this, they didn't say it till the point he died. So what's the purpose of this shit?
Well, many of these women, they have hit the wall. They can no longer trade on their looks. They've aged out of the entertainment system. And now they're desperate to find a way to make a living. And they're hoping to get one big payday by making these allegations. They're hoping that all of those places that they used to get money from, like Playboy and many of these guys who they were side pieces from, will drop them a little small change as they age out of the system. So this is why you see so many of these women making these allegations. And when they were in their 20s, they had no problem posing for Playboy. They had no problem being a bunny. They had no problem trading their bodies for parts. But now that they are in their late 40s, early 50s, and are looking at their empty bank accounts, no husband, no children, and they're about to struggle because there's new young hot competition. A lot of these women want to try to rewrite the story, and this is what happens when you're dealing with your washed up woman. A lot of washed up women, what they want to do is make these allegations because they can't reinvent themselves, because a lot of times with a lot of washed up females like this, they will go out here and try to become a feminist after participating in all this behavior, and they'll try to reinvent themselves, but these women can't reinvent themselves because a lot of cases they have no talent, they have no skills, and they need to try to find some way to make money because there's nobody out there. It's like I was presenting in my book, The Woman Crisis. A lot of these women know that they cannot find anybody, and they know they're on the road to bust downtown, and they know that there's no simps for them to get with anymore. And the road to bust downtown is a rough one. And once they hit bust downtown, there's no guys out there, and they're just waiting basically for death to come and get them.
The money has run up dry.
Yep.
The well is dry. So I'm a milk. She needs another cow to milk. All aboard the bust down train.
It's the last stop on the feminist. It's the last stop for a feminist.
And is being driven by the eloquent and the intellectual Michael Eric Dyson, who will drive these bust downs somewhere to be guided so that they can be provided.
Yep.
Oh, that was a good one, huh?
Yep. You can get them for 50, 60, 70, even 80% off the original price at Bust Downtown. And a lot of times nobody's coming to pick them up because these women have so many, they're like used cars. They got so many issues, and they've got the odometer says to be continued on that box. So most guys who are smart don't want anything to do with them. But you might find a simp here or there who will pick up one of these broken down bust downs and try to get a ride. But the whole thing is they just break down, and that's why they get sent back to bust downtown. And sadly, that's where these women know they're going. And that's what's got them so scared, because they know that in bust downtown, there are not many guys coming around.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at the fact that he lost to Gilligan. With Gilligan, the skipper to the millionaire. Come on, Shawn. And his wife, the movie star, and all the rest are here on Gilligan's. Michael Eric Dumbass will take a gently used taco Tammy. Oh, y'all are bad in the chat.
Well, that's where they go. The simps love they love those leftovers. They love those used, broken down females because they finally think they've got their shot, but it's like no, it's not even worth the shot. This woman is completely busted, and just practically she's gone at this point. But the simp thinks it's just like the girl he had in high school that he was chasing, but he soon finds out that's not the same girl as he's dealing with all of her mental health issues, emotional issues, and it's not worth the 50, 60, 70, even 80% off the original price. This chick is just $5 food stamp without the book. And the best thing to do is leave her on the lot until they take her over to the crusher or the cremator, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Again. The skipper too. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this one up. I did have one more question. Have you been following this Brian Flores lawsuit?
I have taken a look at it, and I can relate to what happened to Brian Flores because I know what type of discrimination they're participating in with him. What they do is they'll go out here and passively go out here and interview a black candidate, but then they've already made up their mind. I ran into this at an IT interview I did with the City University of New York, and I also ran into it with the CUNY office assistant position. And a lot of times these businesses will participate in discrimination against straight black men, and they'll make it look like it's fair passively by interviewing a group of candidates, but they have already aggressively chosen who they want to choose, and they just go out here and do this to in order to meet the diversity quotas and be able to make everything look right for the EEOC. But they'll go out here and they'll choose whoever they want to choose, and there's clearly it's a discriminatory pattern because you don't see any black men working anywhere. But what they do is they make it look really nice and really up on the level on the surface, but they willfully and intentionally were practicing discrimination.
Yeah. Well, what they do is that the Rooney Rule that they have in place that doesn't stop this. That doesn't mean that the owner has to hire a minority. That just means you're required to interview. Now the question is, do you interview them before you make up your decision or after? And it looks like they interview them after they've made their decision, which was instant. Because remember last year, or the Giants had Joe Judge who just got fired, and Joe Judge didn't do anything with the Giants. Yet Eric Bieniemy, who has been the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs for 4 years, he coached Patrick Mahomes. My goodness, he has not gotten a job yet for 4 years. 4 NFC Championship appearances, 2
Yeah,
Super Bowl appearances. He's won 1. Now Hugh Jackson just sucked as a coach in the NFL. I mean, it's hard. I saw where he said that the Cleveland Browns even offered him money to lose some games, basically give up on the games, what they call it is fixing it essentially, but you can't fix the Cleveland Browns. They've been bad for a long time.
Yep.
It's just bad luck with them. But Miami Dolphins, they had 2 winning seasons and they still fired him. And
Yep.
so and there's only one black coach in the NFL, and that's Mike Tomlin. And there are people who don't like Mike Tomlin. They want Mike Tomlin fired.
They don't want any black men in positions of power. They don't want any straight black men in positions of power because they don't like the idea of a black man being in a leadership role. That's been par for the course with white supremacy. And on the NFL slave plantation, they don't want any black man being seen in a leadership role because that might inspire others to want to lead. And people just have to see the NFL for what it is. Basically, it's a slave plantation.
Yeah. I'm just getting something from Nicole. I saw Nicole earlier, but I think she was going back and forth with Holly Robinson Pete because Holly Robinson is now on the Bill Cosby is guilty train.
Another bootlick.
I
I wouldn't expect that from her. It's sad.
She actually liked one of my tweets before. So I'm AJ Johnson, who played in House Party, she said something. I'm just disappointed in these Negroes. And her father, her father worked on the Cosby Show, and I guess I could share this with you. So she said she's not watching it, Nicole, and they said she won't watch. Some folks just won't see the truth. My dad wrote for picture pages in Cosby Show. I heard these stories for years. Thank you for your courage, Kamau. And Nicole said, Mrs. Pete, I won't promote a 4-hour hit piece that is filled with innuendos and lies. This docuseries never once discussed Mr. Cosby's side. How on earth is that balanced fair? I went to Mr. Cosby's trial, asked KB why he cut out Tom Mesereau's part. Everyone heard and said nothing.
Critical questions.
And she replied, and there's more. Hold on. Let me see. Listen, what y'all not gonna do is use me as some kind of scapegoat for your cause. My late dad told me things that concerned him. He did employ him as a writer. My father had Parkinson's disease. Of course, I was grateful. Then came 2014. Then why respond to my tweet if that's the case? You publicly put this out here, not me. You could have easily ignored me too. Who am I, right? You know, Nicole's pissed when she puts the periods between that.
Yeah.
And it's still a fair question. If this man was known for all these allegations, I surely wouldn't be praising him, right? Please.
And if she knew what this was going on, why didn't you say something?
Yeah, it's just like with Michael Jackson. You guys could be just as guilty if you were complicit in something. But yeah, so she was praising him. So this is her Instagram page back in 2013. She found the script binder for Matt Robinson on The Cosby Show. He was a writer, producer on it for the whole run, even when Parkinson slowed him down. Mr. Cosby kept him employed. I be forever grateful for that. Friday will be 11 years since he passed. Now, her father was Roosevelt Franklin from Sesame Street, the first black man on Sesame Street. And there was a movement to get that character kicked off because he was a black man who was educated, who was well dressed. He talked correctly. He spoke the King's English, and they didn't like it.
Nope. They never like intelligent black men who can carry and conduct themselves properly.
And Mrs. Pete, I'm so disappointed. I'm shocked but not surprised. But I don't get how all of these people can say something about this man. You say you knew things, you heard things, but you didn't go to the police. You never reported it to mainstream media. You didn't report it to the district attorney. Nobody said nothing.
And Bill Cosby was nobody at the time. I mean, this wasn't Harvey Weinstein. This wasn't Jeff Zucker.
Well, when you say nobody at this time, you mean he wasn't not in the you're talking about from the 1960s?
Yeah, from the 1960s to the early 80s.
Getting started in the early 1960s is when his career was starting to roll.
Yeah. Because I look at it as like, if he did all this and y'all knew about it, why didn't you say something back then? Because we were, again, in the 1960s, Jim Crow was still going on. All you have to do is say one thing and a black man was going to jail. And if he did this, you would have gone to them almost immediately. So I don't listen to this Holly Robinson. It's just sad. It's just another bootlick looking to get some butter biscuits from these white men. And she's thinking, oh, if I throw Bill Cosby under the bus, they'll give me some favor, but you're only going to get the same penny that your W. Kamau Bell got and the same penny that your Hannibal Buress got. And all of these bootlicks don't understand that Hollywood has the same reward for them, and that is giving them absolutely nothing but a size 10 shoe right up their backside because they don't respect any black person. And everything that you're doing to Mr. Cosby eventually is going to come back to you.
And, you know, speaking of which, when I bring up Holly Robinson's dad, who have that character Roosevelt Franklin, if they were so upset to get your father kicked off the TV show back then, fighting him in the 1970s, I believe. That was Sesame Street was what, late 60s, early 70s? Shawn?
Yeah.
Sesame Street was in 68.
Yeah. But they were trying to get him off the show because, again, they don't like heterosexual black men
Right.
going
So
out here.
the point I'm making, though, long story short, is if they did that to your father, why you don't think they wouldn't do that to Dr. Cosby?
That's the question that she doesn't really want to answer because she doesn't understand the answer is what they did to her father, they would do to Bill Cosby, and what they did to Bill Cosby, eventually they're going to do to her.
Yeah.
Because Hollywood does not have a use for bootlicks. And again, like Professor Black Truth has always said, white supremacy always breaks its toys.
Yeah.
But this is another case of revisionist history and her hoping to get these guys to give them some crumbs. But I don't see nobody getting no crumbs, really, from all this bootlicking and brown nosing. All I see is white supremacy having no respect for many of these black performers. And me, I'm losing a lot more respect for these black performers like Holly Robinson, Pete, because they show me that they are part of the bootleg class and they're all about worshiping white people at the expense of their own, sacrificing their own dignity for it.
Willie D is actually going live now saying, we need to talk about W. Kamau Bell and his kind.
Yeah.
So, and Willie D was actually on the Cosby is guilty train, if you remember earlier. But I think as time went on, when he had a chance to do research, and that's the key, you got to do research and just read. This isn't about defending rape culture. If I had evidence that Bill Cosby, if I really believed and had evidence that he was guilty of doing that, I'd be the first to throw him under the jail. If they had evidence to prove that, but they didn't.
No.
Darius said white supremacists only like moist knackers.
Yep.
Well, personally, Charles Barkley, he has always been a moist knocker. Personally, I love the knockers. But, I think the knockers, they don't play good if they got street clothes on their team. Anthony Street Clothes Davis, he don't play, and that's just terrible. Shawn, last topic I want to ask you, did you ever hear about this? I've been going live. You probably don't watch when I go live on Tuesdays or Sundays, but this incident where the Governor John Bell Edwards out of Louisiana denied reports from the AP concerning the death of Ronald Greene. I don't know if you saw my live stream. You need to be brought up on it, but Ronald Greene is a black man who was killed by police back in 2019 out in Monroe, Louisiana, state police to be exact. They sent a text message to the governor saying that Greene was killed after a violent struggle, to which the governor responded, "Thank you," referring to the information that was given to him. And for the last year or so, the police had said he died in a car accident, which they knew was not true. So the AP did a Freedom of Information request act, which they're saying the governor knew, and of course he's denying anything like that and said he has never denied justice or never would. And being fully transparent, he actually spoke with the Congressional Black Caucus of Louisiana. Yes, butterflies, that was Barkley. Afterwards. Had you heard about this story?
No, I haven't heard about it.
Okay, well, let me just share. So let me just share with you what happened with Mr. Greene. So this happened in 2020. The video, 8 months ago, the video was released. Now, I won't play all the video, but this was the deadly arrest that happened back in 2019. So you see this here. Hold on a second.
Newly released video of a deadly arrest of a black man in Louisiana 2 years ago is drawing more outrage. Today, the family of Ronald Greene told CBS News it wants the officers held accountable. We get more now from CBS's Michael George, and a warning, the video is disturbing.
Ronald Greene is pleading with Louisiana State Police officers who wrestled him to the ground following a pursuit in May 2019. After excerpts were published by the Associated Press, state police released 40 minutes of body camera videos, which showed Greene being tased and punched from several angles. Officers say he continued to resist. Greene can be heard repeatedly saying, "I'm sorry." The FBI is investigating Greene's death and what led up to it. But on the tape, Trooper Chris Hollingsworth is heard explaining what happened.
I beat the ever living out of him, choked him and everything else trying to get him under control. And was still fighting and we were still wrestling with him, trying to hold him down. He was spitting blood everywhere. And then all of a sudden he just went limp.
Greene's family is suing the Louisiana State Police for wrongful death. They say the agency initially claimed Greene died after crashing into a tree during the chase. CBS News has confirmed an autopsy report showed head injuries, a broken breastbone, and a torn aorta were factors in his death. Colonel Lamar Davis.
Having, contacted and spoken with the Greene family, I can feel their pain.
The Louisiana State Police fired 2 of the troopers and suspended another. Last fall, just hours after learning he would be fired, Trooper Hollingsworth died in a single-car crash. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Okay, so that's one thing. Now, let me show you this. So, y'all stay with me. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Please donate to the Cash App. We're doing this. I'm not getting paid for this. If you love what you see here, support me on this channel. You see the ticker at the bottom. Now, WAFB is now reporting on yesterday that Governor John Bell Edwards held a private meeting with members of the Legislative Black Caucus, the Louisiana Black Caucus to be exact. The AP obtained a recording of that meeting and reports during it the governor promised the group he would publicly say that what happened to Greene was racist. Let's play that video.
No mother should ever have to see her son die a violent death.
Before holding this news conference about the Ronald Greene case Tuesday, the governor met behind closed doors with black state lawmakers to discuss the case in private. The Associated Press, known as the AP, says it has an audio recording of that meeting, describing it as very heated, with some lawmakers even cursing at the governor. The AP has not released the actual recording, only quotes from it, saying, "The governor told the Legislative Black Caucus, 'Let me address this now and make this commitment to you. I will say that this was a racial incident, a criminal incident. I will say that.'" And minutes later, he held a news conference where he did just that.
I cannot imagine that had Mr. Greene been white, he would have been treated that way. And so I think we have to acknowledge racism when we see it. I think we have to make sure that we call it what it is.
Greene died after a 2019 violent arrest by Louisiana State troopers near Monroe, following a high-speed pursuit and crash. Body cam footage shows white troopers tasing Greene, punching him, and one dragging him by his ankles as he pleaded for mercy. Within hours of Greene's death, the governor got a text message from state police telling him about a motorist dying following a high-speed chase. The governor, who says he routinely gets notifications anytime there's a serious incident with state police, texted back saying, "Thank you." The AP says the recording of Tuesday's private meeting captures one black lawmaker grilling Edwards about his response to that text, saying, quote, "A man died in custody. You don't ask his name. You don't ask what happened. You don't get any facts." The governor says he did not know the real story of how Greene died until more than a year later, when he saw police body cam footage for the first time, telling the black lawmakers, quote, "From the very first time I saw it, I thought the conduct was criminal. The feds are investigating, but their case is still ongoing." The governor told the group he too is frustrated with the slow pace of the federal investigation, telling them he wonders, quote, "Are they ever going to come out and have a charge?" The AP says the audio recording also has the governor telling the Black Caucus he is sorry things have not moved faster, saying, quote, "I can't imagine a worse day in my life than today. I apologize with the core of my soul that we haven't made the progress over the last year that I hoped to have made. I am at an awful place right now too, and I absolutely hate it. I hate that we're all in here dealing with this." The AP also reports one Black lawmaker also told the governor this matter will not go away until there's an acknowledgement that a cover-up happened. Reporting in Baton Rouge, Perry Robinson, WAFB 9 News.
Perry, thank
All right, so that's that. So you get the gist of it, Shawn.
Yeah.
They killed this man and covered it up, the state police.
And the government is going along with it.
Yeah. Well, so the governor is being accused of a cover-up. And I don't know who the Black lawmakers were. I'm guessing it's somebody I know who cussed at him. Gotta be from New Orleans. I wonder, well, no, maybe it's not him. No, maybe somebody from Baton Rouge. I don't know. One of them Boosie brothers. But little Boosie. But he's doing the Joe Biden routine. What did you think, Shawn, from hearing what you heard about the Louisiana Black Caucus and that meeting? Apparently, it was heated, according to the reports.
Yeah, basically, there's a cover up going on, and it looks like, I don't know if they're looking like they're selling out this young man who was murdered, but it's looking like there's a major cover up, and they're trying to just keep the truth from coming out as related to this murder, and they also want to keep these officers from being held accountable and being punished for the murder of this man, which we clearly saw on video. And everybody's dragging their feet, trying to make excuses to avoid having to hold these officers accountable. So it's looking like to me they're trying to go out here and participate in white supremacy's usual plan of just trying to cover things up, run the clock out. And what's sad is we've got Black folks going along with it.
Yeah. And, all this stuff about, well, I'm sorry for the core of my soul and praying. I want to know, to hell with all that shit. What did you know, Governor?
Yeah,
if you got that text message, that should have been enough. Yes, look, as a lawyer, yeah, I know there are procedures you got to go through. I get all of that. But you knew from that message. Okay, here's the thing, Shawn. You knew from the message that the man was killed. They killed him. There was a violent struggle. Now, whether it was justifiable or not, I get the legal aspect of it. That's something for the courts to decide. But when they tell a lie that you know of, your state police you know of for a year, that it was an accident, a car accident, the family is told it's a car accident, you have pertinent information in your cell phone from your government issued phone that it wasn't. That is the issue. That's the only issue I have. So he can keep his prayers, he can feel sorry all he wants, but if you were aware of this and did not make this known, we got a problem.
It just shows corruption at the highest levels of government.
And look, I remember when he was running against Eddie Rispone. Let me say this. I voted for John Bell Edwards as governor. I didn't want Eddie Rispone to be governor. As a Republican, I didn't think, and a businessman, I didn't think he knew anything. John Bell Edwards, I felt, had the economy of the state going. And let me say this. He had 99% of the Black vote. All of that, most of that came from, guess where? This parish, Orleans Parish. Black people put him in. And that was a fairly close election, actually. He didn't win in a landslide. It was very close. No more of this, we got to go out because Martin Luther King wanted us. We can't have it. No, I'm not doing that no more. See, I thought we have to treat this like a business. What are we getting out of it? Well, I even asked people afterwards, well, what do you get out of it? Well, these older people, well, we don't have a Republican that's going to be in the White House. We won't have to deal with someone who's incompetent. I said, okay, that's fine. He's not incompetent, but what has he promised you?
He's giving you nothing.
He has given you nothing. The trooper Chris Collinsworth, was it a sign of karma coming back to get him for his part in the role of Ronald Greene's death? You know what? I mean, it could have been, he found out he was going to be fired. I don't know what it was. He probably got scared. Because he died, Chris Collinsworth, he died in a car accident. And there was scrutiny over the black man's death, for all I know. He had a single car highway crash. For all I know, he probably could have rammed into something. That could have been his way of killing himself, for all I know.
Yeah.
They refused to release the letter on any details of how the highway crash occurred. When this happened, when he died back in 2020, September of 2020. And he was given a full burial. Look at this. This is from the Los Angeles Times. Look at this. We're about to, look at this. That's his funeral. I don't have anything more to say. Shawn, I will give you the last words. I've already said a lot about this.
Well, it just shows how dysfunctional our criminal justice system still is. And what's really, again, sad about this whole situation that's related to these rogue police officers is that you have blacks who are a part of our political process going along with this, not understanding that the same men who went out here and murdered that young black man could eventually turn and murder them. So they're thinking, oh, I'm going to go along with this, even though one of these officers is bragging about beating a black man nearly to death, not understanding that one day you could be driving down that exact same road, be racially profiled by these rogue officers, and be in the same situation. And again, what's sad is because they all vote for a certain blue-colored party, nobody's connecting dots and realizing that this party does not have your best interests at heart. And you need to go out here and demand the tangible of justice and make sure that you give it to candidates who will support you getting the tangible of justice and not just vote for blue no matter who.
Yes, indeed. Blue Lives Matter. That's a good one. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this up because it's been over 2 hours. In the meantime, Shawn, I want you to do a quick plug-in, if you can, for your books.
All right. Well, the SJS Direct 2021 books are now available on Amazon.com. And those include, again, John Haynes Taking Care of Business, ISIS Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, and E-Steam Cancel Location, and Stop Simping in Cyberspace. And the 2022 books will be available soon, and I will be putting them up for pre-order. And those include ISIS Legacy and E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. And I also am going to be launching a John Haynes at Death's Door Kickstarter soon. So there's a lot going on at SJS Direct, but you can pick up the SJS Direct 2021 books right now on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find SJS Direct books in paperback format on stores like Walmart, Barnes & Noble, and other online booksellers. And you can find many digital books on platforms like Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, the iBookstore, and Google Play.
You guys buy Stop Simping in Cyberspace by Shawn James. This is on Amazon right now in Kindle and paperback format. Shout out to Dwayne Franklin in the Facebook chat. My cousin, what's up, Dwayne? I hope you're doing good, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, with plugins, and I want to thank everyone from Black Voltron, Computer Robots, Darius from Atlanta, especially you, Black Voltron, because you've been pushing my stuff hard. Ladies and gentlemen, go to the Facebook page at Commonwealth Cause to get updates for our latest when our book will be released. It will be released soon. I'm actually working on the final edits on it, and can't wait to release it. Shawn is ready. He enjoys it. So it's a great. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. Shawn loves it.
Yes, fantastic book. Very well done.
He also loves some Nani's Creole seasoning.
Yeah, I just picked that up. You got to go out here and use it. I like the scent of it, though.
Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish. It also smells good, according to Shawn. I don't know about you putting it on as cologne or anything like that, but who knows? You might attract some women or some mackerels. Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, also, of course, and y'all know where to go to the website, naniscreoblends.com. Hit the shopping cart icon to order that. If you want to advertise with the channel, hit the email, gavin.juice1@gmail.com. And Patreon, of course, for exclusive content. What else we have to do? Oh, Video Soul, which is our latest release. And, of course, got to get on up there. All available on the iTunes, Spotify, and Apple Store. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Shawn. Thank you all. And remember, Gilligan's Island is still popular, even more than we need to talk about Bill Cosby. I'm out this bitch, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
All right, good night. Thank you for having me on.
Just sit right back and you'll hear. Wait, no, let's do the ending of Gilligan's Island. Now, this is a tale of our castaways. They're here for a long, long time. They'll have to make the best of things here for a long, long while. There are no lights, no motor cars, not a single luxury. Like Robinson Crusoe, it's riveting as can be. So join us here each week, my friends. You're sure to get a smile from 7 stranded castaways here on Gilligan's Island. That'd be Kamau Bell. Oh my God. 149. That's bad, huh, Shawn? That's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Butterfly said Shawn beatbox.
Not doing that.
Yeah. No, Shawn, I want to take you to Bus Town. I want to take you to Bus Downtown. Well, she talked about it. Ooh. All right, I'm done. I'm really done. Bus Downtown. I just thought about that. That's funny. The chat loves it. All right. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you all this weekend, and I'll have some more music for some more videos that I'm gonna be dropping soon. Shawn, you got a video? What's your live stream about tomorrow?
I'm still working it out. I might make it about the powdered sugar dusty white boys, or I might just do it on another subject. I'm still trying to figure out what it's going to be.
Okay, well, whatever it is, wherever it is, I'm sure it's going to be great. Good night, guys.
All right, good night.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll live. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on Earth, Wind, and Fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all time. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on the floor. Come on, baby, gotta get on the floor, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Skipper! Oh, little buddy.